everyone, my name is Notepad Anon and I write games for fun. So what are we working on today? Well, today we're going to be working on God-Killing Swords, game of ultimate power in which you take the role of effectively a JRPG boss at the very end. So, what are we working on? So today we got all of this stuff done. I cleaned up some things, worded, and other things still need a little bit of fixing up, mostly when it comes to things like Golden Core, which is just kind of a temporary name I need to put in there. Now, I do have the document set up. I have my little preface here, pretty much just stating like what the issue with these kind of games usually tends to be. And the usual issue is that we don't really see a lot because I don't think people really have a good idea of what the basis to actually look at is. Because when you say high-powered, everyone's going to get a slightly different opinion about what high-powered games are, and the answer is there really isn't a good answer, because everyone's going to look at things slightly differently. So I instead am saying this is how we're going to do it, and I wrote it. So this is the lore. Yes, it's 3 pages of lore, in which can be roughly summarized as Omega God got bored, by being literally too perfect, and in his rage of being too perfect, he created imperfect things because he literally got so pissed at himself for doing it. So, in his infinite wisdom, he thought, hey, if I create perfect things, if I create imperfect things by me, that means fundamentally I'm imperfect. So, to become perfect, I need to kill myself. But I can't, so I'm going to forge a sword to do it for me. It plucked 777,777 of its finest bones from the endless body that plagued it. Reaching deep within, it pulled the rawest, deepest hatred and heat it could from its body, so close to the thing it called a heart. Searing and melting the bones deep, it concluded the most raw and simple of objects, a blade. Pounding the molten body with hardened starlight, it then quenched the golden heat with its own tears, not yet becoming cosmic dust. The hilt was formed by smashing the planets formed of hardened skin. The final aspect was the pommel, tearing a tooth from its form, technically. Which this should be its form. It planted the still bleeding object to the bottom. It had completed its masterpiece. It had completed a blade forged of its own body. It had completed an object to end it. Yeah, that is the Lord. He literally created a thing called the God-Killing Sword and then declared, hey, reality sucks, I'm going home with my ball. And his ball being his existence. And that's what he did. But when he died, all of his body parts decided that they wanted to fuck off. And they did. Hence, we have humanity. So, one thing about this is what we need to do is playing. Actually, drama among the cosmos. God-Killing Swords. And God-Killing Swords is played with no dice. What I should do is open up Fate Lonely Dance real fast, because Fate Lonely Dance is going to be important. This is what we're basing the system off of, almost entirely. So, okay. This is literally what I did for playing the game. This was a simpler time. This was a simple time for Notepad. Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay. Let's see. God-Killing Swords is playing. The pen, paper of a handful of would-be inheritors. Additional tools such as a calculator, calculator, and dice, may be handy, may be useful. However, it is up to the group to deem what is most appropriate for them. God-killing swords is a diceless game, meaning that all actions that take place are, quote, guaranteed actions. This indicates that if a player dictates that their inheritor performs an action, it will be completed, and it will finish. It will finish unless they are hampered. The time, effort, and resources required such feats will be the main issues plaguing the new kings, plaguing the inheritors. Because the entire idea is that the players are going to be playing inheritors. Inheritors have a fragment of the god-killing sword. They have the inner flame, which allows them to effectively manipulate reality. They also possess a word. And what that means is they possess a word that Omega God, spoke. And since they can now say that word, they have power over things inside of their own little domain. You don't necessarily have to be excellent at all these, but this is what makes you pretty much a contender. If you have one or two of these, you're a scion. You're pretty much on the path to becoming an inheritor, but you're not there yet. If you have all three, you've pretty much hit godhood. Again, you are the final boss of a JRPG. You are god to everybody else except your peers. You're just an asshole, and no one likes you. Why? Because in a world where it is next to impossible to die, really, unless you kind of want to die, or you yourself are getting hampered by something, the guy who can kill you suddenly does have a little bit more power over you than you would think, or you would like. So, guaranteed actions. Such a feat. The inheritors will be guided. By their... Ow. There we go. We'll be guided by their... do we call them? Are we calling them attributes? I think we're calling them attributes. I think that'd be the most appropriate. That'll be the easiest thing to call them. We'll be guided by their essence and hearts. Essence and hearts, as they are so far above regular individuals, they pose little threat. But in a world where the differences between God and inheritors are fractions of power, each small advantage becomes important. Which is the idea that you're kind of going with here. It's if you have let's say for example, A in warfare, you are apocalyptic in battle tendency. You can cleave through armies, not easily, mostly because it's just going to take you time to start, every time you take a swing with your blade, having to clean all the gore off of you and having to kind of hike through that as the enemy army is freaking the fuck out and trying to run away from you, and you being annoyed by it. That's why it's taking so long, is because you're too busy killing things effectively. While, you know, another character with, say, a C in Warfare is equally able to do this, but they're going just a little bit slower than you. But the answer you always have to ask, and this is the big thing about this game, the big question you have to ask, is why am I deciding to cleave through all these people? Is there a reason to? Because you can do whatever you want. The problem is you have to figure out why you are bothering to do it. Excusez-moi. Each small advantage becomes important. Let's see. Becomes important. Live, die. Live, die, exist. Exist, Inheritor. Because those are the arc words for this entire game. Live, die, exist. Because that's what causes everything, is that people keep killing one another with god-killing super weapons, and I'm going to keep misspelling Inheritors. I hope you all know that. Because I always forget to put the Inheritor. I always want to put an extra T, actually, what do I keep doing to spell this wrong? Oh, I keep saying that is hair, like an heir. An heir to the throne is that. However, if you want to spell inheritor, it's this. So my brain keeps wanting to type in heir because you are inheriting something, but that's not how it works because the English language is silly. Up to decided what was the most appropriate for them. And one thing about this game, and one thing I'm going to have to do pretty hard, is I need to, well, how do I want to word this? I'm going to try to make this game legit. I'm going to try to mitigate as much, I'm going to try to put in side notes, I want to put in fun things, I want to give people a lot of options with it, but the big thing is that I'm going to try my damnedest to actually do this fully by myself. I'm going to write the thing, I'm going to edit the thing, I am then going to attempt to do the artwork for it, yes, which is to say, I am going to be using paint.net quite liberally and doing black and white, very simple drawings in it, because that's all I can really do. And finally, the big thing is what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to upload this and make it a PDF. I want to see how quickly and how streamlined I can make the PDFing process, because usually the PDF process is the longest part, and usually some of the more complex bits to actually do. So, what is the goal for today, though? What is the, what do we plan on doing today? Well, the main thing, what we want to get done today is, well, what we need to do anyway, we need to do inheritor creation. This is going to be by far, I'm doing it again, this is going to be by far the most, largest part about this. Because inheritor creation is going to be, well, your attributes, it's going to be your, your resources, it's going to be your domain stuff. It's also going to be your abilities. Abilities and words. And technically your sword. Well, quote. Oof. Your sword. Give me 1 second. Oh, God. I had Greek today. And Greeks coming back with a vengeance. Let's see, they unlock the power artist who have achieve ultimate power. Yeah, I don't think people quite understand that I'm terrible at art. I am horrible at it. I can doodle in my little sketchbook I have. I doodle little things, but I don't actually draw that well because I have A, zero patience, and B, I have absolutely no ability to actually do space very well. I don't know why, I'm just not very good at it. Like, some people have the eye to be an artist, I do not have that eye. And I've seen people be like, oh, well, this, just draw a circle or draw a box. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I like, here's a box, being like, well, that's not a right box. I'm like, what do you fucking mean it's not a right box? But, give me one moment. Oh, God. Remember, kids, never get lemon potatoes. Oh, lemon potatoes are very good, but do not like me. But this is the main thing what we want to try to do. This is inheritor creation. Once inheritor creation's done, actually, we're pretty good, because even here, you can kind of see, this game is 65 pages. At page 30, the game's done. The rest of this is kind of side notes, and like, this is going to come like a big thing here as well, which is going to bring me to conflicts, and then we're going to do effectively, setting stuff, because I need to put in notes there. And so this is going to be our main thing, what we're going to be doing. Once this is done, yeah, I think we'll do pretty good. Like, top of my head, like, how long this is going to take? 3, maybe 4 days. My goal is next week to wrap things up with it, to at least get this version done. Like, I would say the bare bones, easy to understand version. The version I can upload pretty reliably to the site. Which I really ought to start doing. So, inheritor creation. Okay, and inheritors are born of the servant race, one of the servant races. An individual with single word carved into their soul, to dictate to dictate their life. There is no limit nor expectation to become an inheritor outside of the drive to excel and become stronger. The main three aspects of an inheritor is that they have a fragment of the god-killing sword, able to manipulate their inner flame, and learned a word of it spoken. Learned a word of it and can speak it. Now, mind you, I want the words to feel weird, but it's things like, okay, hey, you have the word for beast. Now, you technically have the word for beast, bestial, bestious, things like that to kind of play around with, but the big thing with it is that you now have domain over that word. If you say beasts, an animal is going to come up to you and be able to speak to you, kind of thing. Even if that is the dumbest creature alive, it's going to be able to understand you and understand whatever the hell you're saying with it. You have dominion over them. They're not going to attack you. They're not even going to give you the time of day, because you to them are an idol. You are a godlike creature to them. They're going to approach you and worship you, effectively. Every animal in that area is going to bow its head as you cross. Does not matter if you are a predator or you are prey. They will bow to you. However, let's say you unlock more words. You can string them together, but it's also incredibly literal. And there are some words there are some words which are incredibly valuable, simply because they allow you to do things and manipulate. Such as, let's say you have the word of sword, and you have the word break. Break sword. Cool. Every sword in the area is going to shatter into 1,000 pieces pretty quickly. However, you say sword breaker, yeah, congratulations, your sword is now going to be able to break just about anything, because you have dominion over it. But also, use those words to be weird. And that's why I think they're very powerful. How do you learn words? Well, you gotta find them. Find them, or eat your enemies. This is a fragment of the god-killing sword, able to manipulate their inner plane and learn the word of it. You can speak it. These three combine together to immortalize and empower the inheritor, allowing them to defy limits, and take the throne and actually ascend to the lofty heights of the old gods, which are technically the new gods. I should have called them the new gods. Descend to the lofty heights of the new gods. And as a inheritor, you cannot die. As a inheritor, the character is functionally immortal. Is functionally immortal, resistant to almost all kinds of damage, able to able to bend things to bend their domain to their will, and is considered by most to be a deity. Considered by most to be a deity. What it doesn't allow you, what it doesn't include, is the all-knowing power. It is functionally immortal, resents almost all kinds of damage, able to bend their domain to their will, and is considered by most to be a deity. As an inheritor, the only true obstacle to power are other inheritors, which probably want to balance you out because they don't trust you at all, because you can kill them and they don't like that. Because who the fuck would? Who's gonna be like, oh yeah, I mean, this guy can kill me, I feel safe around him? No. All kinds deity figure. So what we need to do is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give, actually, inheritor. Inheritor has, oh God, how do I want to do this? 250 build points, character points, soul points, anima points. What would be a good one? Actually, yeah, we'll call it creation points. C's. Inheritor has 250 character creation points, allowing them to purchase aspects about themselves to fully encapsulate their divinity. Inheritor will be able to gain additional CP. If they hamper, or what would it be? If they handicap themselves, or allow themselves to be exposed. Once all CP has been spent, the inheritor is locked in. The only way they will improve is by devouring the inner flame. The only way they will improve is by learning more than what they have. Is by learning more about the world and understanding it. Now, here's the big thing, and this is one thing I'm going to have to put in for the word section. Hey, Notepad, why can't I just learn a bunch of words and then give it to all my friends? That would be a good idea. However, why would you do that? Tell me, why would you do that? Well, because they're my friends and they'll teach me a bunch of words. No, they won't. They have zero incentive to do that. You have all these words of power because you have them. And I don't want, the big thing is, and this is going to be a GM thing mostly, when I'm going to have to go over in the setting, like the kind of the GM section of this game, which is going to be your friends and your companions. They're your friends and companions. You like them, they're great. You love them to death. You don't trust them though, because why would you? Like, the big thing is that you're going to be entering the third cycle, effectively, during the course of a campaign, which is going to be a reality-killing death war between all of your friends. You can be with them for the entire run. You're like, oh, we're best friends. We're going to be in this together. Do you really trust them, though? Mostly when it comes down to prisoner dilemma issues. All right. Okay, we've successfully stopped a evil inheritor from killing us all. Well, this is so good. Who gets his sword? Well, I think I should get it. No, 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 no. I think I should. No, 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 no. And everyone starts debating with each other, being like, who do you actually give a leg up on just pure power? Because this is a game of ramping up. When someone starts winning, when someone starts being able to kind of subsume more power, they're just going to get stronger to the point where even their peers can't really stop them. So you may be tempted to teach others a word or something, but doing that places you at a disadvantage unless they give you something huge. Unless they do something for you. And that's actually a pretty significant thing to have over someone. You're like, I will teach you a word if you do this for me. And if you don't do it, well, prepare for a fight. It goes both ways, mind you. Like, hey, I did this, horrible thing for you. Now give me now teach me this word. And you're like, well, no, I'm not going to teach it. Why would I teach it to you? Ha ha ha. Being like, oh, okay, we're going to kill you now. I'll rip the word from your core. I'll rip your knowledge from your body and eat it in front of you as you bleed to death. So actually, give me 1 second. We have looping. Yeah, we're looping. Improved by the learning more about the world and understanding it. So our first one is obviously going to be attributes. So in here, how do I set up attributes? Let's wonder, how do I set up attributes? Good start. So inheritors. Inheritors are defined. Inheritors are innately tied to their attributes. Exemplary displays of both skill and their natural. Let's see. Inheritors are innately tied to their attributes. Exemplary displays of both skill and their natural. How do I want to word this? Body? No, they're natural, actually. Okay. Their attributes, exemplary displays both skill and their natural self. Being an inheritor. Being an inheritor makes each attribute far above the regular human. Far above a regular human. Being an inheritor makes each attribute far above a regular human. But the rankings dictate how much more or less skilled they are compared to other inheritors. If you haven't noticed yet, I'm trying not to type in the word cultivator, but still get the same idea with, which someone actually in my Discord did an entire thing on cultivation today, and it killed me. I was reading it, it's like, oh god, oh lord. Scratching my foot right now. That feels really good, by the way. Oh. Okay. So all conflicts at the end, all conflicts will inevitably come down to comparing attribute rankings against one another. The higher attribute will always emerge victorious. Victorious eventually. It may take weeks of constant bouts of violence, or mere nanoseconds to eradicate an enemy. So, be quickly over a prolonged. Option to reduce their attribute for additional attribute points or class. Or class by service, powerful heroic spirit. Okay. Mere nanoseconds to eradicate an enemy. Now, one thing I should also put a point in there. You can always like willingly say my attribute is now a B or something. Like, yeah, I want like, okay, let's train. You can technically quote lower your attribute to a lower thing, and that's what I'm gonna have to do for conflicts. Which is going to be saying, like, I'm actually not fighting at full capacity right now. Because I don't want you to know my full capacity. Remember X to eradicate an enemy. All inheritors have one attribute to be their defining attribute. To be their defining attribute. No matter what, they can never lose. They can never lose a conflict when their defining attribute is being used. They may still be injured and driven to the ends, but never fully defeated. This is secret, and many go to great lengths to hide their defining attribute. While others simply refuse to relent. The only way to defeat someone using their defining attribute is for it to be using their defining attribute is for it to be the challenger's defining attribute as well. So pretty much, you cannot lose if you have your defining attribute. So you might have, let's say like warfare B, but this is your defining attribute. No matter what you do, you will never lose in a warfare fight. Like, as long as you will have a weapon in hand and you are fighting tooth and nail, you're not going to lose. But that's the point. Let's see. The lake. Why is it weird for me? Why is it weird to me to switch to column layout for document pages after I mostly use classic one-page column? Columns are fine. Columns are fine. If there's a dangling word, cut it down or simplify or make it pretty. I don't know why people get afraid of columns. I think I don't use columns. Here's the thing: I don't use columns in Google Docs because Google Docs hates columns. Like, that's the big thing. Google Docs has an intense dislike of columns for a multiple reason. Mostly because Google Docs isn't really designed for that. The thing is, I am crippling myself doing this the way I have been doing things. But the big thing about defining attribute is that it's kind of like a secret thing that you have over another, that you have the ability to kind of like, well, here's my small advantage. Like, I might be getting absolutely rolled, but I know that my defining attribute is something important to me. And the thing is, it may not always be obvious. Like, that's the big thing. It may not be like an obvious attribute. And that's on purpose. Because you could say, oh, well, my mental is like a D rank, but that's my defining attribute. Well, why is mental your defining attribute? Well, because I'm literally too stupid to die. I am literally so fucking stupid that I don't care. You could be using everything against me. You will never defeat me by tricking me. Why? Because I am just that smart. Like, I have achieved something beyond intelligence. I'm so fucking stupid, I don't need to worry about it anymore. So, let me see. Hey, Mira. And so, we've got these. So, here's our basic stats. Am I going to be lucky enough to be able to start challenge? Athletics. Okay, these are luckily all the exact same. So what I can do is something like this. Go away, Lancer. You keep losing. What we need to actually do. How many times do we use the term characters so far? Characters, characters, characters. Cool. We are going to change that to INHERITOR. INHERITORs. The inheritor's going. Let's see. As an inheritor, they are functionally immortal, resistant, are considered by most. There we go. To inheritor with high physicals and ungodly is unnaturally strong and able to surmount challenges set before them in athletics with ease, with low physical. Let's see. May appear frail, or of weak body. While they are, while physically fit, they do not possess the same endurance. Engage in a wrestling match to open a door, hold open a door, and hit. Nope, we're not doing that last one. So what would be a good physical challenge? So, Inheritor. Loops across the cityscape. So yeah, if you want to fly, if you really want to just propel yourself forward, going insanely fast, you're going to be rolling physical. Deadly sword fight gets into a gunfight with the Inheritor. Engages in a high speed battle with their foes. The Inheritor kills an assassin with the assassin's own sword. So yeah, high warfare is the best way to kind of understand what like an S rank warfare looks like is I'm going to attack you with a sword. By the time the sword is coming down, I've already probably eradicated you. Or it's like, you just don't even care anymore. Like, you are so impossibly skilled with weapons that you are a one-man army. You are an apocalypse with legs, and everybody is scared of you for it. Let's see, finding attributes, what I should also put in is all attributes begin at rank C. At rank C, average. And for actually no, I need to explain all the attributes first, then I'm going to do it. So mental, with high mental, clearly decipher puzzles, use most technology with ease. With low mental, is a bit slow and unattainable reason out some of the more difficult things in life. Smaller match over velocity deduces the enemy's exact location. Because now we get the ones that aren't quite right. So, we need to do flame. The inheritor's ability to manipulate their inner flame given to them with their ascension. An inheritor with high flame is able to bend and twist this reality around them by pure force of will. An inheritor with low flame cultivates it internally, rarely allowing its sparks to affect others. So, what would be some example things we can do? Inheritors engage in a deadly sword fight. Okay, well, we want to do the inheritor breaks open false magics. It breaks open false magic gates with a wave. A inheritor sears life into an inanimate object. A inheritor let's see, an inheritor. What would be a good one? Would be a more competitive one. Engages in a shouting match of words, of divine words against an opponent. Actually burns away the impurities of their enemies. Yeah, the best way to kind of understand flame is to kind of get the impression across that this is literally fire inside of your body, which dictates how magically capable you are. You literally have a nuclear fission engine inside of your chest that tell you how cool you are, powered by divine magic. In case someone's like, oh no, whatever will I do against the enemy? Oh no, I'm going to literally light my chest on, use my fucking divine nuclear powered chest to kill you. Flame is what makes you, like, overtly supernatural, in a way. And that's kind of the point. So, Radiance. Radiants are rad. Yeah, I think rad's the inheritor's natural divinity and influence on lesser souls. In inheritor with high radiance commands the room, demands worship, and receives off, and their steps are kissed as reliquary, as sacred ground. In inheritor with low radiance has their divinity radiate out personally. Their cults being small but zealous. The best way to kind of word radiance in general is S-rank radiance is I walk onto a planet and people automatically know I'm there and begin hosting festivals for me because they're terrified I'll just kill them all. Radiance also kind of dictates. Radiance is going to be used for a few things that aren't necessarily obvious. It's also going to be things like range. You know, how important, like how powerful are your abilities to do things? Why? Because you are literally exuding radiant power. You walk in, they throw themselves onto the ground and worship the ground you tread upon. Let's see. Inheritor with low radiance has the divinity radiate personally. Their cults being small but zealous. So, organizes and executes. Organizes a witch hunt against their enemies. A inheritor. An inheritor convinces a rival scion to join their forces. A inheritor burn. Actually, how do I want to? So, what would be a good one for here? Pretty much, what's a good opposition one? You know, it's you doing something and then you kind of going away with somebody else, and you kind of doing. So, actually, this would be inheritor competes with the influence of a rival sect. There we go. Our final one is karma. KRM. The inheritors desire and willpower to change their own, to manipulate their destiny. An inheritor with high karma. Actually, what I should say is, what's a good one for? So, actually, we're going to be using these, and a inheritor. Oh. Inheritor with high karma is destined for greatness, and the world seems to hand them victories. A inheritor with low karma finds it with low karma. Actually, inheritor with low karma. Scratches, bites, and claws for victories. for their self-won victories, refusing to acknowledge fate, acknowledge destiny. So let's see, the Inheritor requires the services of a local guru. Is the guru present? And divines the future. Future using a word of power, using a word of God. An inheritor flips a coin, betting themselves against it. So pretty much it's the idea of, hey, I'm going to do something completely bullshit right now. I have incredibly high karma. I'm going to bet everything on this coin flip. What do you mean you're going to bet everything on a coin flip? I'm going to bet this coin is going to land face up, and if it does, I'm going to kill you. What do you mean, flip? Oh, wow, look, it's heads. Kick the coin at their face kind of thing. Let's see, so we've got all of these. I'm going to organize these into alphabetical order afterwards, just because it's a little bit easier for me sometimes to do it like this. But that should be all our attributes. And it's going to want to do an inheritor. Yeah, it's going to be an inheritor, Control-Shift-8. 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 Didn't mean enough to get that last one. Let's get rid of you. Okay, cool. Now, if we go down here, now this is where things get a little bit complicated. So what we're going to do is I'm going to copy this sheet right here. I'm going to put this on a separate page. Go away, Saber, and Saber. Or I should say King Arthur in 3 different realities, because Fate's fucking nuts, and God bless that series. See, I could do an entire conversation on Fate, because Fate is hilarious, and I adore Fate for all of the wrong reasons. I think it is the silliest thing available. Huh. Actually, I'm curious. Activity status. This damn song is going to go through my head all day long. Okay, so C's are going to be our base. So we're going to do what I need to do right here is switch you over to the correct. You technically should be 3. So each attribute is ranked from A. Actually, it should be S+ to E-. But a inheritor can divide this E+ to E+, representing the true apex. Actually, I should make this S or E, S to E rank. S to E rank from S to E, representing the highest and lowest inheritor can truly become. To F, not representing the highest and lowest inheritor can truly become. Actually, we should say is in 5 inheritors who gain a bump increase the rank by a full value. A to B. Actually, would be, let's say, B to A. Actually be increase/decrease. Decrease the rank by a full value, while increasing increasing/decreasing by a step reduces the value by a single value. So it would be B to B plus. Changes the value slightly. B to B plus. Bumps and steps bumps and steps counteracts positive/negative values for each, but remain independent of one another, with bumps taking place first, and then steps. I'm gonna put that as a note just to say, let's say I have two bumps to warfare. So I would go from, let's say, like, I'll say a good one, like B, D to B. But then I have two lesser steps, two steps below, two negative steps. I would go from B minus to C. I would go from B to C plus. So you end up in a situation where you don't end up like, it's not like, oh wow, you now have like this trash attribute, because there's going to be counters and there's going to be sub counters, and it's like each little bit means something. So let's see. If an inheritor ever go beyond S plus or F minus, they instead gain favor or ruin. Stacking on top of one another. Let's see. They instead gain favor or ruin, adding on to their already existing amounts. So pretty much, favor is good shit happening to you. You are so impossibly skilled. It's actually no. If an inheritor cannot go beyond S plus or F minus. If this occurs, then it is ignored. Okay, so now we have our costs. Then we're going to have we select all of you. And we need to make... That's the wrong one. We don't need to make you that. Q to mono. We need to make you archivo. Yeah. I might change the body font. I don't know yet. I don't really have a... Because I use Texturina as the main font. Because I'm like, okay, Texturina is a... I like Texturina. I think it's a good font. Especially for something like this. But I'm not, like, entirely sold on Archivo yet. I'll look around some more. Maybe I can find a better one. Any suggestions are, as always, helpful. So, creation point. So, creation points. C, you're going to start with 0. Now, this is where things get a little bit complicated, because I want people to average out. So, maybe if we do something like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21... Insert row above, S minus, 24. Insert row above, S, 27. Insert row above, S plus, 30. 30 out of your 250. Technically, you could then, if you do that for 5, you would be 150 for each. For everything, which I don't think is the correct option. So instead, maybe we do something like 5, 10... 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And if we do 50, that means you're going to be able to do 5 of them going to be maxed out. Because I always have to assume, what are people going to do if they just max everything out? So, okay, we want C, we'll increase that by 5. Then for B, we do this. Then we do 25, and then we do 35 here. 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. No, this would be 55, 60, 65. Unless we want to do this by, like, a significant value. Unless we do something like... Yeah, I mean, if we could do something like 15, 20, but then make a 10 jump there. 35, 40... 50, 55, 60. Let's see. If you have 250 points, you decide to dump everything into your attributes. Okay, actually, here's what we're going to do. Actually, no, we want to do 15, 20. Power gap by that. 45, 50, let's see. Actually, no, 25. Power gap by 20, 50, 55. Then we do another giant power gap. 75, 100, 125. So you are... Let's just make a sample character here real fast, just to get a good idea of what. So we'll make physical, warfare, mental, flame, radiance, karma. So everything starts at C. So let's see. I want to get an A in mental. I think that's important. So we're going to dedicate 50 points there. I think having an S in Flame, B in Radiance. So this would be 100, and this would be 20. So 120 points. So I only have 80 creation points left. But I have pretty average stats. Yeah, this should be okay. Because if I'm doing my math right, you're going to average out about here. I think most players are going to end up in this range for most of their stats. Because this is pretty reasonable to get. Because if you spend 250, so that would be 4, 5. That would be 5 attributes. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So actually, if you want to increase all of your attributes by 1. So that would be 250 divided by 6. That would be about 40 points each. So it would be about, you could get it up to A pretty, like B plus pretty reliably. Most of your things being A minus with a few B plus. Okay, I think that's not flawless, but it could work. So what we should do is -5, -10. Because if we're doing the same thing, we want this to be half of it. -15. -20, -25, -30, -35. Or we can just make this a bizarro version. So if we want to insert row below, insert row below, insert row below. This would be F plus, F, F minus. And if we just invert everything, so it would be -10, -15, -20, -25, -45, -50, -55, -75, -100, and -125. That's if we do the nega version. So let's do something like... Let's see. If we want to half everything by... Actually, okay. Here's what we can do. Let's try to... Let's half what we can. And, like, this would be just reducing everything. This would be reducing everything by 5. So this would be 5, this would be 10, this would be 15, this would be 20, this would be 40, this would be 45, this would be 50, 70, 95, 120. So you still get a lot of value up here. So we don't want to do that really. Because pretty much what I need to do is I need to make sure that this section, that actually the minus, you're never getting as much character creation points as back just to afford something. Because I don't want to like just a pure 1-for-1 optimization. Like, I don't want you to say I took an F here so I can now purchase an S. Like, I don't want that. I don't want pretty much freebies. So I mean, let's see. I increase it by 10 each time, so maybe I can reduce it by 20 each time. So you're getting. So it would be 5, 10, 15, 20. So this would be 35, 40, 45. Then I increased it by 20, so I would only reduce it by 30. Actually, wait a second. So from the B's here, so let's reduce it like this. So we want to do 5, 10, 15, 20. You're not being able to pay for everything straight up here. Then I increased it by 20 here. So what I need to do is increase this by 10 here. So this would be 35, 40. Then here, then up there, I increased it by 20. So I would need to increase this by 10. I need to increase this by 10 then. So it would be 50, 55. Actually, then we increase it by 25 at that point. So let's do 20, 70, 90. So with this, if you were to get an F, you'd have the ability to F minus. You'd be able to get something like, you would be able to get an A and A plus, A minus in exchange for that. But an F minus is, you're pretty much human at that point in that attribute, which is very bad because how combat works is you select an attribute and they have to oppose with it. So if you know they have an F in something, guess what? They're going to be able to absolutely annihilate them in that certain aspect. So this should work. In theory, this should work. So since we've got attributes handled, so let's see. Next, we have to do the derived values. Yeah, we have to do derived values, don't we? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the derived values right now. Once the derived values are done, I'm going to call it there for today. I'm going to sort everything out and get everything set up for next week. Because I'm pretty sure I know what I need to do. It's a lot of doing it, though. And I need to get ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to suck. Let me just emphasize, tomorrow is going to suck for a variety of reasons. Most notably of which is that I'm going to need to do things. And that thing is going over games that are very... It's hard to explain the games that we're going to be going over a little bit. Because they are very strange. Because the overall... What occurred was... let's see... derived resources and abilities. Because, like, the big thing, what this next curious case is going to be kind of summarized as is games that you think are one thing but are not. Like, all the games, all of them have, like, an aspect of, I thought it was going to be this, but it clearly isn't, for a variety of reasons. I think, like, the most notable one that kind of surprised me was Overarms. Overarms threw me for a loop, because I was going in there after everyone was telling me, it's JoJo, it's JoJo, it's JoJo. It's not really JoJo. Like, I did not get JoJo vibes from that at all. Not a single part of that. I was like, yes, this is JoJo. Like, I would say it's more like Persona, like Persona 4 specifically. People are like, it's like Persona 3. It's not. Like, Persona 3 was grimy. That's why I liked it so much. From each attribute, the INHERITOR. I'm going to learn how to spell inheritor by this. From each attribute, the inheritor that has a set of values which dictate specific resources and bonuses they may possess. Actually, I need to do a quick thing. I need to do the etymology of engine. Engine. There we go. There we go. We'll do Engium. If you ever are, again, this is a thing for all developers out there. If you ever are looking for, like, man, I can't find a good word, just look at the etymology of a word you already found. You'll find something. Or call it, put it in Czech or something. No one will know. Put it in the language like no one gives a shit about, like Czech, and everyone will be like, oh, this is a genius. From each attribute, the inherited set of values which dictate specific resources and bonuses they may possess. These derived resources, derived resources may be influenced during the course of their melodramatic story. May be influenced over the course of their story, allowing them to increase or have it rapidly decrease. So, our core thing is we're going to have wholeness. Is wholeness, which we're just going to call WHL, just for, actually no, we're just going to call this wholeness, which is equal to physical plus mental, men plus 15. And what we're going to describe it is, wholeness is both a spiritual place, peace of mind, as well as bodily integrity. As well as bodily integrity, allowing the inheritor to take blows from their fellows, from others, and shrug off the damage. Wholeness not only dictates not only is the health of the inheritor, it's also their will to live. Should they be defeated, in combat. Oftentimes they will be able to escape. By reducing their wholeness. They're reducing their wholeness by a permanent amount. This way to kill an inheritor is to force them into an engagement in which they cannot win and cannot escape from. That is how you kill someone. You make sure they can't run away. Then we got to do health contribution. Go away. We don't need you here. So we have rank and then wholeness bonus. So we're going to make this a little bit simpler. If you have S rank, you get 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1, 0. Which, mind you, 15, if you say have S, so at the absolute most, you're going to roughly be able to get. And this is if you spend, let's see. Yeah, if you spend both of your thing, if you spend both of it, and you get double S ranks in that, you're going to end up with 25. You're going to end up with 35 wholeness, which is effectively you literally refuse to die. It is God too angry to die. That is what's occurring there. And we'll slap an image right there just to make sure everything looks pretty. And that brings me to, technically this would be our magic circuit contribution. So what this would be is our core, I believe. So our core energy, our core flame. What's our core flame? It's going to be our FLM, which is going to be our flame, plus our karma, plus 10. Very similar, a little bit different though. So the core, the inner core, inner flame of the let's see, the inner flame of the inheritor allows them to manipulate the world around them in supernatural means. The core flame represents years, represents decades of cultivating and harnessing the inner flame to power their divinity. Anytime a inheritor performs supernatural feats, uses their flame directly, or speaks words, their core flame is being used. If the inheritor has no more flame, they are unable to use their abilities effectively. These, however, core flame regenerate. Actually, an inheritor can spend 2 core flame to increase the step of an attribute. Increase the step of an attribute. Can't spend 3. We'll do 3 core flame. 3 core flame to increase the step of an attribute for a check or encounter, or for a bout. Check or bout. Check or combat. For a check, combat, encounter, check or conflict. No, we just want to do check or conflict. This dissipates quickly and has to be constantly renewed. Let's see, this dissipates quickly. This dissipates as soon as it's used, forcing the inheritor to conserve their power, and unleash it when necessary. This is also a balancing factor when you don't want people to start doing like, I delete everything. All right, use this. Like, if you use a word, like, pretty much when we get to the word section, I'm going to kind of highlight being like, if you want to use, like, every word you use is going to cost X amount of core flame. It's going to be like, it's 5, it's going to be like 5, 8, and that would be 5, 8. If we increase it by 3, it would be 3, 6, 9, 12. That's how I'd probably do it. Like, if you wanted to string together a bunch of words, it's going to actually, I'd probably do 5, 10, 15. Like, stringing together a bunch of words is, like, hard. But the thing is, you can increase your core flame pretty easily. That's one thing you want to do. And you do that by eating other people's flames. You destroy an enemy, and you start eating that shit. Like, that's one of the big things of what you want to do, is you want to, like, really cultivate that power inside of you to, well, kill your enemies. Actually, what I should do is replenishment. Replenishment, which is going to be your flame plus your radiance. Replenishment. Replenishment is the ability for the inheritor, if I can actually fucking spell. To manipulate their own internal engine. Engine, I should say. How do I spell that? Ingenium. Own internal ingenium to continually produce flame. Core flame. Whenever the inheritor uses a break. Whenever the character uses, I'm going to actually put this into a break action, or takes time to mull over, to rest, they increase their core flame by their replenishment. This can wrap replenishment. Replenishment is can be influenced heavily by worship and prayers. A beloved ruler of beloved god king of trillions will be able to replenish faster than a lone wandering soul. But it's a trade-off, of course. It's kind of the idea of, like, yeah, everyone loves you, you're a benevolent super god king. However, you're also a god king, and you have all the associated problems of such. It's a push and pull. You want to be loved, you also don't want to be. Let's see, when you use the break action, pretty much anytime you choose to not do an action, you're restoring your own power. Which is literally I'm powering up to the very limit, fuck you. Striking at a target, striking at an inheritor before they can replenish their core flame, can easily expose them to severe harm. Because, yeah, you want to pretty much burn away their core flame, and that's where things come in, being like, you're investing everything into this huge strike to really fuck my day up. However, now that I know you're kind of doing that, I know more about you. I want to learn more about you. Because that's where half the game is. It's about learning and manipulating how people are. It is you coming to the understanding of, wait a second, these motherfuckers, these little fuckers are trying something, and I know what they're trying to do here. What they're trying to do is he's trying to manipulate us. He wants us to burn all our flame. Or wait a second, if I burn all my flame, I'll be able to do just enough damage to hurt it. But I'm putting myself at a disadvantage, and do I really want to do that? So I do increase my, like, do you trust your friends? And which brings me to magical energy contribution. Go away you. I don't need you here. So I need to put you in here. So let me see. You'd be rank, which would be core flame. Core flame contribution, and then we would need you. Rank, and then it would be your replenishment. I'm going to make that 30, 20, 10, 5, 3, 2, no. 35, 30, 25, 20, 10, 5, 0. If you have double zeros, you're going to get something in there, but not much. Actually, that's even a little bit too high. Maybe we do 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, 0. Yeah, I think that works. Replenishment, on the other hand, S rank. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit, just because I know 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just because I know we're going to have 2. See, it's a lot easier to burn it than to get it. And that's something I want to kind of... That is on purpose. That is by design currently. Let's see, your table properties, you're 1.625. Let's see, but you 1.625. You need to be archival. Archival. Wait, why are you different, though? You should be... Wait a second. Wait a moment. Single. There we go. Wait a second. Now you're slightly off. Single. Why are you slightly off? Why are you slightly off? Because you see this, like, it's just ever so slightly off. I mean, is it because of you? Why are you the way that you are? God, this is why I hate Google Docs. But until I find a good way to actually not worry about Google Docs, this is what I'm stuck with, so... Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to select everything here, actually, the table properties. Keep it in the middle, keep it centered. Okay, so we got all of this. We've pretty much got character creation, not character creation, well, we got attributes done at least. As long with all of that. I might add in another set of, derived resources. I don't know yet. So that is the first step of that. So I'm going to call it there for today. So thank you all for watching. My name is Notepad Anon, and I will catch you all tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be going over a bunch of games in my folder that I am looking forward to, even though I'm not. So thank you all. Godspeed, good luck, and I will catch you all on the flip side.